So how should we read what Russia did and didn't do on its Victory Day? I want to get right to retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General and Fox News contributor Keith Kellogg on all of this. General, there was a lot of speculation going into into the Victory Day parade and speech that there was going to be an escalation, that this was going to now be called a war, that Vladimir Putin would press the pedal to the metal. What happened?
Yeah, Charles, thanks for having me. Look, a couple things happened, and Trey mentioned them briefly as well. Look, the 9 May parade's quite large. It's the victory parade from the victory over the Germans in World War II. And a couple things happened. You know, words matter. And I went through the Putin speech and listened to what he said, read it a few times, and said, okay, here's what he said. He said Donbass region 5 times, never mentioned Ukraine at all, mentioned Kyiv, but didn't mention the country of Ukraine. And then when he didn't talk about the mobilization of forces which he would need to win the war. And here's my take on reading between the lines, and I'm probably in the very small minority on this one. I think he realizes he's not going to win this war. And he's trying to look at maybe a way out of this thing and how can he do it and kind of say, okay, if I keep the Donbass, that's my idea of success. He's not winning in the Kharkiv region. Look, the New York Times reported yesterday that Russian forces moving back blew up 3 bridges. You don't blow up 3 bridges if you're advancing. You blow up bridges when you're being in retreat and somebody's chasing you. So maybe what we're looking at is him looking out and saying, there's got to be a way out of this thing, and maybe we can figure a way through it, including with the UN. Because on last Friday, they voted in the UN Security Council to at least look at peaceful ways to celebrate this or to bring this to a conclusion. The Russians did not veto it. That's the first time that's happened. So what I would hope is maybe we're looking for an interlocutor who can actually get some peace talks going between the Ukrainians and the Russians, because all what's going to happen is more cities are going to get destroyed, more civilians are going to die, and the Ukrainians are doing exceptionally well. They've got an incredibly charismatic leader in Zelensky. They're fighting exceptionally well. They're pushing the Russians back. But I think maybe Putin's thinking, maybe there's an end game in here, and let's try to figure it out. That's my reading between the lines. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, I like the scenario that you laid out. Some other scenarios that I've read about include that Russia has a history of prolonged warfare, and that Vladimir Putin has settled in with the notion that this could take, Trey Yingst talked about how long the fighting is dragging on in the east, that this could actually be a prolonged multi-year affair, and that Vladimir Putin would be fine with that.
Yeah, but I don't. Here's where I think that's wrong, Charles, is because we have matched him with artillery and with drones and with heavy systems out there. We're now matching up with what he came to the party with, which was a lot of artillery and a lot of missiles. If we do that, it's a zero-sum game. He realizes he can't win that fight. Ukraine as a nation will stand. It will not fall. They've proven that. And I'd like to see them at least hold on, at the very least, Odessa, which gives them access to the Black Sea. So I think there's maybe a way through this if we can find somebody that can get these parties talking together and figure out how to get out of this thing so we don't see more civilian deaths and keep Ukraine standing as a nation, which it will stand anyway with the way they've been fighting.
What do you make of it's always been curious to me as someone who's not a military expert, but has heard for years about how powerful and lethal the Russian military is, that it's been this sort of plotting approach, that they never declared war. They have conscripts fighting this war. Many generals have died, including a general who apparently didn't show up at the Victory Day parade. No one knows where the top guy is right now. What do you make that they never put it in second or third gear?
Well, I don't think they had the capability to do it. It's not in their plan. When I went back and looked at what Gerasimov, who came up with the military plan for Russian modernization, they intended to fight a defensive war, not an offensive war. And they decentralized all of their organizations, what you hear the term BTG, Battalion Tactical Groups, so they could never mass their forces. They are exceptionally poorly led. They don't have a good command and control structure. They violated about every principle of war that I grew up learning. And they just didn't fight well. That shocked a lot of people that they couldn't pull it together. And that's the reason why they were losing senior officers, not only generals, but regimental commanders, because they're the ones who had to fight forward because they didn't have that junior leadership like we have in the American military to fight through problems.
You know, General, to your point, it's good that Zelensky didn't blink and didn't follow what a lot of Western leaders told him to do at the very beginning. He said, don't give me a ride. I'm staying and we're going to fight. Always appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.